With homeschooling, you can arrange your school year lots of different ways. Let's look at 4 options. Welcome to the Simply Charlotte Mason podcast. I'm Sonia Schaefer. Today we're going to do some slicing and dicing. Not in my kitchen. We're going to slice and dice a calendar. I want to show you 4 different ways that you could schedule your school year. Most of us were raised with a traditional 9-month school year, 9 months of school and 3 months off in the summer. But did you ever stop to think about why that schedule was used? It's a relic of years gone by. Schools used to break during the summer because most of the children were needed at home to help with the crops on the family farm during those warmer months. That's not the case today for most of us. But for some reason, that traditional school year schedule has persisted. The good news is that with homeschooling, you're not tied to that schedule. You can slice and dice your year any way you want to. Homeschooling gives you options. You have the freedom to make the school year fit your family. You don't have to try and make your family fit somebody else's schedule. So let me walk through 4 different ways that you could schedule your school year. Hopefully, these 4 ways will spark your own creativity and help you design a school year that works best for you. And keep in mind that you can use different plans during different years. What works best this year might not work as well next year, and that's fine. Now, when I start playing with my school year schedule, I find it easiest to get a rough idea of how I want to slice and dice it by using math and counting weeks. Then once I have that basic plan, I grab a calendar and lay it out in more detail, making little tweaks and adjustments as needed. The easiest way to calculate a yearly plan is by looking at weeks. Usually a school year is around 36 weeks if you do school 5 days a week. We'll look at a different option in just a minute, but for most of these plans, we're thinking 5 days per week. Now, warning, there's going to be some math involved here. We did say calculate, but don't worry, it's not that hard. Most school years are about 180 days, and 36 weeks times 5 days per week gives us the 180 days. So we can use 36 weeks as the benchmark of what we will need to complete a school year. A calendar year is 52 weeks. If we subtract our 36-week school year from that, 52 minus 36, we should have about 16 weeks off of school each calendar year. So just keep those 2 numbers in mind, 36 weeks of school and 16 weeks off. We're going to look at a few ways that you can mix and match those numbers to create a yearly schedule that will work best for you. First, let's look at how a traditional school year arranges those weeks. Usually this schedule starts in August and ends in May. It's a total of about 41 weeks, but that includes 4 weeks of breaks, 1 around Thanksgiving, 2 around Christmas and New Year's, and 1 in the spring. And then 1 more week of break is broken up and sprinkled throughout the year as a day off here and a day off there. So that's a total of 5 weeks off. So to do the math, 41 weeks minus the 5 weeks off equals 36 weeks. There's your 36 weeks of school that's needed. 5 of your vacation weeks have already been used. That leaves us 11 weeks of vacation. 16 minus 5 is 11. In those traditional school schedules, all of those 11 weeks are taken in one big lump during the summer. So you're packing all of the school into those 41 weeks with just a few small breaks and then taking one big break at the end. You see how this works? Okay, let's do the same thing with a few other yearly options. Charlotte Mason's school year was divided into 3 12-week terms. Now, we're not trying to replicate exactly what she did because her students did school 6 days a week. But let's play with that concept of 3 12-week terms, and let's see how it might work for us. First, let's do the math. 12 weeks times 3 terms equals 36 weeks of school. There you go. That's pretty neat. And then we would have those 16 weeks of vacation left. Now we could split them pretty evenly between the 3 terms. 16 weeks vacation divided by the 3 terms is a little more than 5. So we could put about 5 weeks in between each term. If you plug that into a calendar, you could do September, October, November for term 1, and then take off 5 weeks for the holidays. Then January, February, and March for term 2, and take off 5 weeks in the spring. Finish up with May, June, and July for term 3, take off 6 weeks at the end of the summer. There are your 16 vacation weeks. And that might make a nice yearly routine. Of course, another possibility would be to shuffle those vacation weeks between the terms instead of trying to make them all the same. So maybe you want to go ahead and take the 5 weeks off during the holidays between term 1 and term 2. But maybe take only 3 weeks off in the spring. That would give you 8 weeks left in the summer. You see how once you get the basic plan calculated, you can tweak it as much as you want. Okay, let's look at a third yearly schedule option. This is one that I used for several years. 3 weeks on, 1 week off. Now in my head, I kind of think of this as 3 weeks on, 1 week off per month. So let's do the math. If I calculate 3 weeks of school each month times the 12 months of the year, there are my 36 weeks of school. And if I do 1 week off per month, there are 12 weeks of vacation spread out nice and even. But I still have 4 more weeks of vacation left to use. Remember? 36 weeks of school and 16 weeks of vacation equals that 52 weeks in the year. I've only used 12 of those 16 weeks of vacation so far. So I could take some extra weeks off during the holidays or during the summer or any time of the year that I wanted to. I really enjoyed the 3 weeks on, 1 week off schedule because it kept us in a rhythm with regular breaks, and it gave us some flexibility with those extra weeks of vacation as well. So far we've looked at 3 different schedules: a traditional school year, a year broken into those 3 12-week terms, and the 3 weeks on, 1 week off school year. Now let's take a look at a schedule that focuses on days rather than weeks. It's the 4 days a week schedule. We'll just do our math a little bit differently. Now we said a typical school year is 180 days. So take those 180 days and divide them by 4 days a week. 180 divided by 4 equals 45. It will take 45 weeks to get in our school year if we do school only 4 days per week. 45 weeks of school, but there are 52 weeks in a year. That still leaves us 7 full weeks of vacation to use whenever we want it. You could do school only 4 days a week and still take 3 weeks off over the holidays and 4 weeks off in the summer. Or 2 weeks off over the holidays, a week off in the spring, and 4 weeks off in the summer. You decide. And that's the beauty of exploring these different options for the school year. You get to decide what's going to work best for you. I'm sure you can probably come up with other options that we didn't talk about here. The sky is the limit. Just get your trusty calculator and remember to do 36 weeks of school, 180 days, and enjoy those 16 weeks of vacation, however you want to slice and dice them. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to subscribe through YouTube, Google Play, iTunes, Instagram, Facebook, or your favorite podcast app so you don't miss an episode. You can also subscribe to the audio version of this podcast or read the blog post on our website at simplycharlottemason.com. All of those links will be in the notes. Thanks for joining me. I'll see you next time.